Week 10 will wrap up with a fun Monday Night Football matchup between Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos and Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Major playoff implications for both of these teams. Last time that we saw the Denver Broncos, they upset the Kansas City Chiefs. And the last time we saw the Bills, they lost a hard-fought match against the Cincinnati Bengals on prime time this past Sunday night. And so kind of want to throw it over to you here first, and I agree with you. What you said right before we started recording here is this is actually a uniquely interesting matchup because I feel like the Broncos, especially offensively, like Russell Wilson, hasn't been horrible. I think that there needs to be a lot of other improvements of talent around him. But in general, though, I mean, whenever you beat the Chiefs, then go into a bye week, I mean, you're going to be well rested, have high momentum, and they're going to be going up against a Bills team that I think is still primarily one-dimensional and suffering with some serious injuries on the defensive side of the ball. What are your overall kind of expectations and thoughts of this game as a whole, and what do the Broncos need to do to come out with a victory here?
Well, they need to do what they did against the Kansas City Chiefs. Come out, they played good defense. They actually moved the ball fairly well, and the big thing was they didn't give Kansas City any easy turnovers or short fields or anything like that. They every single time Kansas City, I think, had to drive over 60 yards if they wanted to score a touchdown. And if you're going to do that, this Bills offense has been struggling as of late. Their last 5 performances were they put up 20 points, 14, 25, 24, 18, which is probably around an average of 20 points. And so that's not good. Like, that's not good enough in today's NFL. You need to be averaging 25 plus, about a touchdown a quarter in that range. So to really be competitive. And the last offensive performance we saw from the Broncos, I mean, they beat the Chiefs 24-9. That's a pretty convincing victory, especially when before that the Chiefs were on a little bit of an offensive roll themselves, putting up 27, 19, 31, and then they come in and put up 9 against the Broncos. And so that's a pretty good defensive performance there. So like that to me, come in, play smart football, don't give the Bills any short fields, don't make any stupid turnovers. That's where I think you have to start if you're the Broncos. Because talent-wise, I think Patrick Surtain, one of the best corners in the league, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton is a really solid wide receiver duo. And Russell Wilson, he's not playing horrible this year.
Yeah, it's funny saying that. I feel like it is definitely everybody can see the major asterisk. If it's like not horrible, it's like, well, the asterisk is because 2022 he was one of the worst quarterbacks like that, like one of the worst quarterbacks
consistently. Yeah.
And so the major caveat, but in general though, it's the team offensively seems a little bit more competent, but still lacking. I think where they can help a little bit in the offense in stopping the Bills team is the Bills are still now struggling to run the ball. We've started to see that over these past couple of weeks now. They have started to spread out the targets. Khalil Shakur has had a good past couple of weeks. Dalton Kincaid has stepped up during Dawson Knox's absent. And then also Gabe Davis. It's still Gabe Davis as well. And obviously I haven't even mentioned Stephon Diggs. But to your point, though, Pat Surtain is going to be matching up against Stephon Diggs. So I think it's going to be uniquely interesting because if they're able to shut down some of their passing game, Bills have struggled over these past couple of weeks to move the ball consistently down the field. Like if we're going back a couple of weeks to your Patriots game, it wasn't really until kind of like the later second half when they got desperate and started to put up just kind of airmail it in. Against Tampa Bay, I didn't think it was a very inspiring performance offensively, and the Bucs don't really have that great of defense. And last week, they did go up against the Bengals team, who has a good defense. But they didn't really get a lot of their main points until like the fourth quarter. They had their first drive, which they went and scored down, which looked effective. But then outside of that, they were just inconsistent, and just in my opinion. So I'm curious to hear Bills fans like your overall thoughts on this team, because I do have some concerns moving forward with like the Bills team offensively, because I still feel, and we've been saying this now for a couple of years, still feel like they're just too one-dimensional. They're not going to be able to run the ball here. That being said, though,
they are a much better running team this year than in years past. To me, I think it's the efficiency in the passing game. They're not nearly as efficient as they have been in the last couple.
I will say, though, I think we can maybe see them, and I think being more efficient is fair. And they're going to be going up against a Denver team who has the worst rushing defense in the league. So if they're able to establish the run, then it's going to open things up in the passing game. I think that's where the Bills can win here. And luckily, Broncos defense does not have a good just kind of rushing defense in general. So it's uniquely interesting. I'm curious to see how this game is going to kind of play out. And if Denver's going to be able to exploit any of the injuries that are currently happening right now with the Buffalo Bills defense. And at the same time, though, but now having Von Miller back, I think that they'll be able to also give the Denver Broncos offensive line a lot of trouble. And they've been struggling a lot this year. So we've been going back and forth. And so let's get into our predictions. But before we do that, if you have not already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to get notified whenever we create new content. Right now, we have a goal of getting to 2,100 subs by Thanksgiving. So it's only a couple weeks away, and we're about 50 short. So if you want to help us out, reach our goal, and also join our channel and help us grow our community, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Ryan, who do you have winning this Monday Night Football matchup?
I want so badly to pick the Broncos here because they've looked good over their last few outings. Russell Wilson, this offense finally seems to be clicking. This defense is playing better. But I just can't not pick the Bills. They're 4-0 in, I believe it's now Highmark Stadium. Their only home loss is to Jacksonville overseas in London. And while I don't think this offense has been playing that great lately, I still think Denver – I haven't seen enough to be consistently picking them in bigger, more important games. Granted, Kansas City at home is a pretty important game, but I've only seen it one time, right? Other than that, they haven't looked super great the last season and a half, and so I'm gonna go with the Bills. And I'm not as happy about it as I thought I would be.
I'm also going to go with the Bills as well. I can understand kind of your hesitancy to pick them because I'm also feeling the same way as well. It's not anything like I feel like the Bills on paper are a better team, but there's just something about the way that they're playing football that we started to see towards the end of last season. I feel like kind of creep into this season as well, especially now at this point. There's just they used to have that feeling on like every single drive they would go down and score a touchdown, just like how they did against the Patriots in the playoffs game when they scored 7 touchdowns on 7 drives. Do you remember that in 2021?
Actually, I think it was 9 touchdowns on 7 drives, or 9 touchdowns on 9 drives. 9.
No, that'd be 63 points. I don't think they scored 63 points.
No, they scored 56 points. Or sorry, 8 touchdowns on 8 drives.
Okay,
sorry.
There we go. That one.
Yeah.
I think I stopped watching because that's the one when the adult toy got stuck to the guy's helmet. I think, or thrown at the guy's helmet. I think that game.
Yeah, I think it was that game.
That was funny. So I'm going to go with the Bills still, just because I think also then too my greater distrust of just the Denver Broncos. Yes, they did beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and their offense isn't playing as horribly as they were last year. But at the same time, this defense still is atrocious. And when it comes to passing yards that they've given up allowed, some of this is still, I think, from the Miami game. But they've given up over 2,000 passing yards on the season. I think Josh Allen, and now kind of with this, his ability now to spread out to now multiple weapons. It's not like Stephon Diggs and only Stephon Diggs. I feel like that they're also just going to have a tough time covering everybody moving forward. So I think it's going to be a more interesting game than I think people are going to give it credit for. But I'm also going to go with the Buffalo Bills in this game.
Yeah, so we're both picking the Bills. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Is it going to be the Denver Broncos? Is it going to be the Buffalo Bills? And other than that, we will see you guys next time.